Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 185. Oh, and I'm joined by my co-host, Morgan Harfell. Good evening, Morgan. How are you?
Good, bro. Hello to the chat. Hello to you. I'm very well. Have you had a great week?
I have had a good week because I played some disc golf. Hooray!
You did. I was just as we're opening the scene here. I was just trying to find your score.
You have to scroll down pretty far. Well,
not that far.
Honest.
Just 6 or 7 scrolls on the wee wheel on the mouse. Eh?
Seven screens is the that sounds about right. No, but it was I had a great time. We'll go through a little bit more detail a little bit later on, but I had a fantastic time at the weekend, and yeah, but we've got a great show lined up tonight as well.
Yes, we do.
You've been pretty busy. Before we go through the agenda, you've been pretty busy this week.
Have I? I can't even remember what's happened. Honestly, I don't know how this. I don't know where the last 7 days gone.
Well, that's what I mean. I remember talking to you.
Disappeared.
I can remember talking to you during the week, and it being, oh yeah, I might have a look at that, and then it's something's happened and it's got in the way. But
yeah, it's all a blur. It really is. It's all a blur. Actually, it's not just this week, eh? Like, I don't know. The days are just disappearing at the moment. When you get into that last stretch coming towards Christmas, which we've got something coming up about later in the show for next week, the weeks just seem to disappear.
Right.
And we'll be around to January 2025 in no time.
But the days are getting longer, which is fantastic.
Yes, they are.
Disc golf in the evenings is becoming more and more plausible. I know Ladies League in Wellington has already started. That started a week or so ago. So every Tuesday night, ladies, get yourself down to. They're currently in Petone. They kind of tour around Wellington. So they start in Petone because it's a shorter course, and you can. And so for the shorter evenings during daylight savings, you can get around Petone quite easily, and then the longer evenings they head up to Harcourt and Barronport. So do that.
I will.
Go on.
Sorry, you carry on.
Sorry. I was going to say, and then Wellington Spring League starts up again at Harcourt Park in about 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. I want to say 30th of October, if that's a thing. Is a Wednesday night. It's 30th of October, 3 weeks' time. Start of Spring League. So yeah, lots of evening disc golf.
How good are the PDGA leagues, right? How good are they?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
So if we look all the way back, and I wish I had the stat right in front of me, Struggle Street, the very first ever New Zealand PDGA league. Yeah. Super exciting times doing that. That's been around since COVID. Whatever year COVID was, Struggle Street was the
2020.
Was a COVID birth child for disc golf. And unfortunately, and it's pretty cool though, tonight is the very last round at Struggle Street. So if you're watching the show and you're in Queenstown, I don't want to push anyone away from watching the show, but get down to Struggle Street, go see the boys. Yeah. The diggers are arriving tomorrow afternoon. Baskets are out first thing tomorrow morning.
And it is literally like the diggers are arriving, right?
Diggers are arriving.
That's such a shame. That's just such a shame.
It is. But I mean, they knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. We didn't have a date, and I think it went on a lot longer than anyone expected.
So I played it in, I want to say 2021. When I came down to play in I played in the one in Dunedin. What's it called?
You came down to play Heislander.
That's right. I played Heislander, and I flew into there. Of course, after Struggle Street, Barronport was the Barronport 200 was the next event to be held, and then you held Any Given Monday in Queenstown, and then I held the Midweek Spring League, which is having its latest iteration. We just talked about it. So, and that'll be going for this will be the 4th year in a row that the Spring League's been run. So,
beautiful. Yeah. Well, that all stems from there. And just a shout out to Chris and all the team. I'm not going to list off the names, but Chris and all the crew down there that set up Struggle Street right out front of their house on just a small field. Yeah, it's been incredible for a lot of people. It's been a good training ground for the guys that live around there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I would say get yourself. Well, you've got about maybe a few hours, maybe less than an hour of daylight. I don't know. It's pretty dark in Wellington.
They'll have the night lights on. They'll be out there for quite a while. I think they've all taken a few beers down there to celebrate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, rip Struggle Street. Yes, gone too soon. Anyway, right, the show for tonight. We've got a lot on, so we're going to hop into it. We've got hot scores coming up first. Then we've got an interview with Dylan Murray, who's the from Waimate Disc Golf Club and is running the Masters. If I got this right, it's the South Island Masters Games, which is taking place this weekend. Producer Tom's playing in it. And so yeah, we're going to have a very we're going to be following those results on UDisc very, very carefully. We're going to go through Topor. We've got a giveaway. We've got 2 giveaways to do, or not 2 giveaways, but 2 prizes, right? So the first one is for the 400 YouTube subs, which you had to put an entry into the Facebook post that we had last week. Entries are now closed. So we've got the wheel of names coming up for that. And we've got a duck race coming up for the skins match winner at the Legend
first spot of the Wāhi Tapu skins match.
So that's going to be very exciting to cheer on your duck in its race that hopefully won't crash the street.
Actually, let me clarify that. This is not for a spot on the skins match. This is for a spot. This is how hard it is to get into the skins match because everyone wants the money. The spot is to get into the hot sauce quiz. I want to call it the Hot Ones quiz, but there must be some sort of copyright on that. As most of you should know, the Hot Ones YouTube channel with Sean Evans, one of the best shows on YouTube, inspired by that. But yeah, it's a hot sauce quiz, so we're going to put some people through some pain to win a spot.
Yeah. Okay, so if you win the duck race, if your electronic duck wins the duck race, then you get a spot in the hot sauce quiz.
Yes, you do.
And you presumably you need to eat lots of hot sauce during this quiz.
Yeah, it's just you have to have what I haven't decided what we're putting on the hot sauce but you'll be having a different hot sauce before each question. No drinks, nothing other than what we give you. Anything that you have outside of that, you're disqualified.
Right. Wow.
And for entering, I'm Tom's in my ear, but I'm going to say Tom said, how do you enter? We posted it all over our Generation social media. So if you missed out, too bad, follow our social media. Entries are now closed on that too. Otherwise I'll be stirring Tom's pot up, trying to get him to add names throughout the show. He won't love that.
We've also got some upcoming events, lots of new events to talk about. Power rankings, been some shifts in the power rankings thanks to the 2 events which occurred over the last weekend. And also next week we'll be launching something very cool, which we did last year. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. First up, hot scores. Morgan, take us through the South.
Yes, so just before I kick us off in the South, I've just clicked into my mind what I did this week. There were 3 events this week. There was the unsanctioned gathering of the Nocturnals in Queenstown, so we'll touch on that after our interview with Dylan as well. Anywho, down into the South, looks like Mr. Ollie Webb of Wanaka's been out on the road. He's found himself at Queen's Park in Invercargill, shooting a spicy 11 under par. Kelvin Cummings over at Chingford, we see his name up here every week. 6 down under par. Yeah, that'll work. 6 under par for Mr. Kelvin. Over to Brockville, and Darren shoots a nice 1 under par. Back into my neck of the woods, and Smokey shoots a 15 under par at the Gardens. Lismore Park over in Wanaka, and like the echo of every week, Mundo McDisc, and also joined by Ollie Webb, 9 down this week. 9 down also gets it done at Jelly Park. Tell you what, this writing is far too small, or I'm just getting blinder. 9 down also gets it done for Robbie Talbot at Jelly Park. Sam Cole, we'll just say this, friend of the show. Warren Park, he shoots an 11 under par this week. KBG and Luke Darrell get the job done at Smallbone Reserve with an 11 under par. 5 down, the hot score this week for Queen's Park Reserve, and that is by Josh Mason. Patrick Ludlow, old Paddy, with a 6 down at Saxton Field, and rounding out the South at Brantford Park. Mr. Alex Batten with a 14 down, and shout out to Alex. for coming all the way down to Queenstown for the Flight Park Open just a few weeks ago, man. That was awesome to see you and your mate down here. So thank you very much for joining us. How are we looking up in the north, Matt?
Up in the north, we've got Flavio Mayorga and the man, the myth, the legend, Simon Fogarty, who hits 6 under par at Berrenport up in the hills. Across the water at Koi Koi. Andy Davey hits 6 down round Petone. Up the valley to Harcourt Park, and Ben Morrison does the job with a 7 under par. Up to Linklater, I should say, Johnny Wake hits 11 down in Palmerston North. And across to Maryland's Jason Mallion's 4 down is enough for the hot score this week. Across to Spa Park Black, and Johnny Wake hits 10 under par across Spa Park Black's course. We'll see how he did in the Topol Thermal Throwdown in a little bit later on. Chris Chaos hits 10 under par at Henderson. Jackson Sullivan hits 6 down at Woodhill, and Luke Humphreys hits 3 under at Rosedale. So congratulations and well done to anybody who took away a hot score this week. Very well done. Our guest for this evening, who we're going to welcome now, is Dylan Murray of Waimate Disc Golf Club. So they host the Nottingley Giants, and for anybody who's sort of geographically challenged, a little bit like me, Morgan, in terms of where Waimate is in the South Island, perhaps you could give us a quick description of where it is before we bring Dylan on.
Dylan's on.
He's on. Oh, good evening. Good evening, Dylan. Hey, Dylan, Tom doing me a dirty there. Changing the screens quick. Dylan, maybe you could tell us where Waimate is.
Yeah,
good evening.
I could. So there's 2 Waimates in New Zealand, so it's important to get it right. There's a Waimate North, and we're not there.
Okay.
It's in the North Island. So we're in Waimate. We're in South Canterbury, midway between Timaru and Oamaru in Otago.
Lovely.
We're on the good side of the Waitaki River.
Lovely stuff. And you've got a bit of a busy weekend coming up. Now, the Nottingley Giants is your kind of tour event, if you like. But you're also hosting have I got this right, the South Island Masters Games? Is this right? Well,
yeah, it is. We're hosting the disc golf sport that's involved in the general South Island Masters Games that's being run out of Timaru. We're the only sporting event in Waimate, and the first time disc golf's been part of the Masters Games franchise.
So talk us through that. How's that kind of come about, and what are the Masters Games, and how does disc golf play a part, and what is all this for people who haven't come across it before?
Yeah, well, the Masters Games has been going for quite a few years, and the South Island Masters Games flips between Timaru, Blenheim, year in, year out, and then there's the New Zealand Masters Games that flips between Whanganui and Dunedin every year as well. And obviously there's a worldwide Masters movement, which involves all sorts of different sports, team sports and individual sports. But the South Island Masters Games this year has about 2,000 people involved in it, playing all sorts of different sports. So we're pretty happy. What we did was ask if we could include disc golf, and it was a pretty easy exercise to do that.
Yeah.
Because at this time of year, last year we hosted the Spring Sling, which was a 72-hole tournament here in Waimate involving Victoria Park and Nottingley Park. So we've got 2 disc golf courses here in our little town. So we thought, let's get involved with Masters. See if we can grow the sport in a slightly different direction. See who's interested and who wants to be involved. So, especially since it's such a big movement and has such a good coverage.
Yeah. Have you been involved in the Masters Games outside of disc golf before?
Yeah, I have. Only as a competitor. I'm playing normal golf and basketball.
Yep.
And because I'm obviously, I don't know if you might not be able to notice, but I am 54, so I'd certainly qualify. The age groups generally start at about 30.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Because Masters, in the disc golf realm, we think of as 40 plus. But as we have just found out before, Mr. Tom Baker of the show is competing in the 30 and above division.
Yeah, I think some sports it's even lower than that. It's 25.
Oh, wow.
But that's not general. It's not
Yeah.
global. So yeah, we thought 30 was a good age to pitch disc golf anyway,
Yeah.
and it's proved the case. There's quite a few entries, and quite a few people were a little bit miffed that they're only 29 years old and haven't been over twice.
Oh, well.
You'll get a chance.
Yeah,
You'll get a
just
chance.
enjoy being 29, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I was scrolling through the Masters Games website this afternoon. One thing that caught me a little off guard, and I've never heard it called this before, but croquet golf. Has anyone here
Yes.
ever heard of that before? I know croquet, and when I looked at the photos, same thing. And I don't know if it's different or if that's the actual name. Can you enlighten me on this?
I only know this because I've played it a couple of times, but there's two types of croquet.
Okay.
And croquet golf is a slight variation on what you'd probably normally think croquet is with the mallets and the balls. The same thing, just slightly different rules.
There we go.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Interesting. I'm going to have to look more into this because I've played every other type of golf, and now I'm going to have to find out what's going on there. We've got a croquet club just up the road here, so I might be invested in another sport.
Outrageous.
So you were just saying that sorry, Matt. You were just saying that the South Island Masters Games here is the first time disc golf's been presented on this platform worldwide.
No, just in the South Islands.
Okay.
I know that North Island have done it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they held it. But yeah, the North Island crew, whoever held it, beat us to it.
Yeah, I was just going to say
the first time.
The first time we tried to go to the Japan Open, it was part of the World Masters Games in Kansai. Obviously, COVID ruined that for us, and I was just like, did we miss out on the first opportunity? But no, that's cool. It's so awesome to see it put into just another category where it brings in a whole different variety of eyes and people that might get attracted to the game. So that excites me, that looking at it from that angle.
Yeah, well, you and I know when we're playing, we're seeing a lot of people playing for enjoyment and their own social and physical activity. They're not necessarily part of a club. They've never played a tournament. We get a lot of NZ, motor caravan people coming through Waimate. They've got discs in their caravans and they're playing our courses. So it's kind of another opportunity to kind of reach out to them, get them involved, I think.
Oh, fantastic. Matt, I won't cut you off this time. Have a way at it.
How many players are playing this weekend then? What's the what are we up to?
Yeah, we've got 32, so it's a small field.
Mm-hmm. Spread across lots of divisions, or have you got maybe?
Yeah, no, lots of divisions. There's quite a few in MA40 and MA50. So split
10,
them up into
10 in MA50.
Yeah. Split them up into decades. So that's much easier to manage with the medals, etc. Yeah.
And so, in terms of is it an individual competition? It's not like a part of a wider sort of games thing. You compete individually.
So you can enter the Masters Games and pay a registration fee and then pay a sports fee for whatever sport you want to be in, because it runs over 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Masters Games. So if you had time off and you're interested in playing normal golf and disc golf and netball and basketball, you can do all those things.
I love that. I love that.
And there's also a massive, social aspect to it. There's evening social events on every night in Timaru, things like that. So it is a real sort of destination for a lot of people, and a lot of people have been coming for years. And as I said, 2,000 people coming to Timaru. That's the most they've had in about 7 years. But then there's been COVID years in those. So.
Yeah. You probably don't get those numbers in Timaru if the fair. What's the fair? I'm having a mind blank.
Caroline Bay Carnival.
Caroline Bay Carnival's in full swing.
Yeah. It's a start anyway. We have 32 players. We have some really good caliber players in the mix as well, and you would have seen the list.
Totally.
So it'll be very competitive.
Yeah,
and it's actually just pretty similar to the numbers we had for the spring sling, and that's of course cutting out anybody under 30.
Yeah.
So, I think it's certainly an opportunity to grow from here.
I think the great thing about this is that, you know, disc golf's going to be showcased amongst the people who will follow the Masters Games from around New Zealand, which will be a portion of the population, but also the 2,000 or so competitors in other sports, right? Who, because they're competing in this other sports, already have an inclination towards competing in sporting activities to a competitive level, and are going to get exposed to a sport that is pretty easy to get into and to play, right? And so I hope that there's future players who are playing one of these other sports who see disc golf and go, oh, that's a thing in this. I might give that a go and end up being someone who takes the sport very seriously and wants to push on with it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly punch above our weight in Waimate. We're only a small town. There's only about 3,500 people. There's about 10,000 in the whole district, and we've got 2 disc golf courses and a very high profile.
I mean, Morgan, imagine imagine having that ratio of disc golf courses per capita in Queenstown or in Lower Hutt, or like, that'd be insane, wouldn't it? That'd be.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get a 3rd in Kurau, so it's in our district. So we've had some really good support from like the Waimate District Council, you know, to really push this sport along, and it's doing really well here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the population of Queenstown. You just triggered my mind to get into this right now. In June 2023, the urban population of 29,000 people. So yeah, we're right there with them, but
10
slightly
times
more
the size
unique.
of Waimate.
Yeah.
We're
9
also,
times the size.
you know, we're also really blessed with an excellent golf course. You know, Nottingham Park is fantastic. It's you guys. I don't know if you guys have played it.
No,
I know Tom has. It really is something special.
No, I think the closest course I've played to there is probably Roxburgh as a stickball golf game for me. Rox was probably the closest one, and then Temuka.
Yes,
I played Temuka. Actually, I played Timaru, whatever course I played there as well. I quite like the Temuka course actually.
Yeah, they got the Temuka Tussle coming up. And,
yeah, they do. Yeah, good plug. Good plug.
Yeah.
So, have you set up? Where's the course being? What course is being played this weekend?
So it's Nottingham Park.
Nottingham Park. Okay.
Our main course. Yeah, 18 baskets, 18 holes there.
Over a couple of rounds.
Yeah, 3 rounds. Practice round tomorrow, 2 rounds Saturday, 1 round Sunday.
Yep, and you guys are doing all the scoring. It's non-PDGA sanctioned, but you're doing everything through UDisc. So I believe people should be able to follow that round. Am I right with that, Matt? They should be able to follow.
Should be able to. Yeah. Should be able to follow it. I was going to say,
Tom, if you know of the link where they can watch that, if it's that link you sent me before, can you chuck that into the chat for the people, please?
And we can follow. And if you want to cheer on producer Tom in his bid to become our part of Masters, we'll certainly be doing that from up here.
Do you, Dylan? Do you have any picks for who's going to take out these divisions?
Well, I know it won't be me, but I'm up against the likes of Mark Tibbett, who's
Tibbs. Yes.
He's a crafty little bugger.
And Gregor.
50. Yeah, Gregor.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom must have a chance with that rating.
Yeah. I'm looking at the MA40s, and Jeremy Hills put on an absolute clinic at Flight Park a couple of weeks ago. Like an absolute clinic. It was something to behold. Not saying any of those other guys can't do it, but man, if he plays anything like he did then, I think he's got whatever tournament he plays in the bag right now in that division.
Just having a look at the entries now. You mentioned Brenley Marshall. Morgan earlier on.
Yeah, Brenley down from he'll be coming up from Invercargill, across and up. There's a couple people in there I don't know. Tom mentioned Latham Storm, who's coming down. That's what happens when you run a tournament central. I've got to figure out which way is up and down. I'm from Queenstown. Most of the places are up except for Invercargill. Latham Storm is who Tom mentioned pre-show in the green room as one to watch out for.
Okay. That's going to be...
And, of course, there's some locals as well with a bit of local knowledge.
That's it. I mean, some of
could upset the apple cart.
A lot of these names I don't recognise. So yeah, that suggests that they're local names who probably play that course every day.
Deb Hunter in there, Deborah Hunter.
Yep, her sister-in-law is playing her first tournament as well, which is really great. Leah.
Is that Leah who she's playing against? Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and there's quite a few people playing their first tournament, so that's really encouraging.
Yeah, that's really good.
I still remember my first one. Yeah, it was good fun.
Is this your first time running a tournament?
Yeah, it is. But I've got Rick Stevens with me, who's helped run one as well. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's the first time.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, take it all in. It's good planning will get you through the whole weekend. Smooth sailing. I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job, and everyone there's obviously there for a good time as well. I think,
absolutely.
Let's be honest, they're disc golfers. Most of them are probably just there for that 2,000 person party later on.
Yeah.
Right. I think if you'd put it that way, you might have had a few more entrants, actually.
Yeah, we'll certainly debrief it and learn from this and see how we can grow it from here for 2 years' time.
Yeah,
it comes back to Timaru.
Totally. Well, I'll pencil that one in. I would definitely be there. I'm off to go and see Bray Marsden get married this weekend down in Invercargill, so I am out for the weekend, or I'd love to come down and have a battle with Tom.
It's looking like it's going to be a fantastic weekend in Waimate. So look, I wish you the very best of weather for this weekend, and good luck. It's going to be an incredible. Sounds like it's going to be really fun. I'm going to be following the scores here, cheering on producer Tom. He's my favorite and pick for this weekend, putting no pressure on, and and yeah, I'm sure everybody will have a fantastic time. So yeah, very best of luck, Dylan. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you very much
to have you on the show. Yeah, we'll catch up with you again. Hey, we'd love to hear how it goes, and also maybe when it comes around to, are you involved in organising the Nottingley Giants tournament?
Not as a director, but yeah, okay. The local club pitches in to do all the hard work.
I see.
The mowing and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
and helping out Martin Galley and Vortica, who help run that tournament.
Yeah, nice one. Fantastic.
Well, good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, we'll catch you again next time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dylan. Go well this weekend, mate.
Sure. So there we go. Look, it's going to be a fantastic event this weekend, eh? So,
absolutely,
it's going to be good fun for everybody heading down to Waimate for that.
There's a lot of real big positives to take out of that, eh? I mean, the two for me personally are knowing how many new eyes are going to be laid on the sport. And then the second one for me personally is actually just seeing another person who's never run a tournament step up into that position. I love it.
Yeah, that's always great to see. Always great to see.
Absolutely.
Right, now we're going to go and do our first giveaway, Morgan, or our first prize. Now this, if I'm right,
400 subscribers.
This is our 400 subscribers. So we've got the wheel of names is on the screen now. And you had to put into the comments of a Facebook post Ben Wheellake's opening round,
highest rated
round, which was 1007. So congratulations to both him and everybody else who guessed it. You win the disc that Morgan just had on the screen, some Innova disc golf playing cards, and a big pack of disc golf stickers. So they're up for grabs. We'll send them to you wherever you are. There's how many entries, Tom? 62 entries, which includes any extra entries you get for our Patreon subscribers. So Patreon supporters get extra entries. Tom, go ahead, spin that wheel, get us a winner. Here it comes. Who's it going to? John Gibbs. John Gibbs lives in Wellington, so I shall see him probably at.
Oh, no shipping for you.
No shipping for me. I should probably. I'll get his address and flick it across to you, Morgan. So
yeah,
so yeah, there we go. Congratulations,
John.
We shall get that to you, and I'll probably see you at Ladies League. Is the most likely place. So now,
not just a congratulations
not
to John.
Yeah.
Not just congratulations to John, but thank you very much, everyone, for getting us to that 400 subscriber mark. That's I'll use this word, stupendous.
It is
absolutely stupendous. I love it. Thank you so much.
I'll leave it at that. Our next giveaway will be going to be doing a massive one at 500, like huge. All right. So if we can get to 500 subscribers, that is going to be massive. So yeah, a little way to go yet, but we shall get there. Right now, let's talk about the results from the weekend. There were 3 events which were held over the weekend. The first event that we're going to go to is the Tapu Thermal Throwdown, which I played, and yeah, Morgan, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved
fantastic
Tapu.
weekend.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I was fortunate for this tournament that it was a bit of a family weekend away. So I went up with with my wife and 2 kids. And my wife's brother, it was his birthday, or it is his birthday coming up, and so we went up for the weekend to a bit of a weekend away that kind of coincided with a disc golf tournament, which is the best kind of way for that to happen. And yeah, so going through the results, in MA1, Johnny Wake destroys everybody with a 30 under par. His final round was 12 under par, 1030 rated, shoots 9 shots better than anyone else in the field. 8 shots better than anyone else in the field. Ridiculous. I mean,
without doing the math,
yeah.
I actually feel like those ratings are low.
Yeah.
For how far out from the rest of the field he was.
Yeah, I mean, the issue that you have
wrong?
is no, you're not wrong, but I can explain why.
Propagators.
That's right. So the ratings, as I'm sure everybody knows by now, is a 0-sum game. Mm-hmm. So the sum of the ratings you get out is equal to the sum of the ratings you get in. So for 2 of these rounds, as an example, I played the same course as Johnny. And so my 882 rating, I was bringing 882 points to the party. And so as a result, when you have lots of lower rated people play, the maximum rating you can get, or that anyone can take away, is going to be reduced. Which is why we see some of the highest rated rounds when you've got some of the higher rated players playing, because there's more.
So Johnny, it's Matt's fault. If you're listening, it's Matt's fault.
It's entirely my doing. Yeah. So no, but I mean, you get the idea, right? Which is why when you see tournaments played at nationals where some of the best players show up, you tend to get higher rated scores. You also tend to get higher rated results when you see layouts played by like MPO, MP40, and that's it. You know, where they might play a championship layout or a gold layout. You tend to see higher ratings on those layouts, because there's, you only use the propagators who play within a particular round, particular layout, sorry, and so that they're you've got high numbers going in, the high numbers coming out. I did speak to Johnny briefly afterwards. Yep. He was pleased with the win, and he said that it's his first 1,000 rated tournament. So
Oh, wicked!
He's very
How
pleased.
good.
He's very pleased with that. It's probably the last one he'll play as well, as he's still planning to head to the States next winter, New Zealand winter, to play in Amateur Worlds. So I mean, this could have been this might be the last thermal throwdown that he plays. Young Ha comes in second place, holding off Josh Pratt in second. Bit of a battle going on there between them two over the weekend, with Jono Crawford in fourth and Ben Morrison, Uncle Ben, in fifth place.
Yep, and just to confirm, 10:13 was his event average.
10:13, yeah, that's a
10:13
really good, and 10:30 is a very good round, like in the history of New Zealand disc golf.
Yes.
You know. Next up, looking at FA1, Michaela Kerr takes this out relatively comfortably with two really good first and second rounds, 9:20, 9:19, and 9:09, rated. Round 1 and 2 is very good. Into MA40, the best division, and as we were talking about, Hayden Shaw takes out this win. Steve Lawson was there for the first round and had a good final round. It was that blue course in the middle. We spoke about how that blue course was going to be kind of birdie or die and make a huge difference, and that proved to be the difference there. Sean Ashford came back strong in the final round, but Gary Jarvis was hanging about for all of the weekend and looked like it might be close. Now, because you can't really tell it on here, but in the final round, with about 3 or 4 holes to go, it was very close, right? So I think these guys finished on hole. Where did we? They started on hole 1. I think, and finished on hole 20, the MA40 guys. So, with after 17 holes, right? The scores I think were tied, but then on hole 17, Hayden got a birdie and Gary unfortunately took a bogey. So there's a 2-shot swing there, which Hayden managed to hold on to. I think that was what was going on. Maybe 1-shot difference going into hole 17. That's kind of what happened in MA40. It was a pretty tight division at the top between the top 4 guys, but it never really looked like it was going to be anyone else other than one of those 4. Honestly, throughout the whole weekend.
I see. Yeah, Gary took a 5. He took a bogey on hole 18, and then went birdie to finish. Where Hayden's went birdie par to finish the last 3.
That's it. I had a really good weekend. I enjoyed getting out there and playing. It was frustrating because in the practice round on the Friday, I shot a 64 on the black layout, which was 3 under par, right? Which would have been a great score to hit if I could get anywhere close to it on the weekend, and then proceeded to not do anything like that. So
are we plus 4, plus 2, plus?
I was 2 down in the second round.
Out loud.
It was plus 9 on the final round, 2 down on the second, which is the blue layout, the shorter layout, and then plus 4 on the first. But on the plus side, I did get to play with lots of players that I haven't played with before. So I got to play with Andy Brewster, who is a character. I'd not played with him before. Had 2 rounds with Des Cooper. That's always fun, and a bunch of other players who I hadn't played with before, which is always good. So had a great weekend, and obviously the Total guys, they know how to put an event on. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I will definitely have to make it up there at some point because it looks epic.
Well, there's a classic coming up, next year, early next year, which we'll talk about a little bit more in the upcoming events. So that's maybe something to consider. A bit further down, as we go to MA2, Dan Pickersgill wins this relatively comfortably, and I spoke to him afterwards. Sorry, I've missed FA40. We'll come back to it. I spoke to him afterwards, and he was the first thing he was talking about was how he wasn't a sandbagger, despite winning the division by 10 shots. So the reputation may have preceded. It's on people's minds. Anyway, Dan Pickersgill wins by 10 shots, and he said to me, actually, I'm going to play MA1 next time. So yeah, there we go. That's the process working, I think. Dan.
I like it. I like it.
In FA40, Amy Whitmore wins comfortably in the end, largely due to a really good 900 rated final round around the black layout. So the ladies,
that finished her with an 881 event average, 19 up on her rating, which is just awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. Laura Backer and Kath Headley had a good battle going all the way. Kath having a good, strong first round, and then Laura pegging her back and holding on for the second place.
Yeah.
In MA3, Troy Fagan. So in MA3, they played the blue layout all weekend. Troy Fagan and Luke Kennedy. Troy Fagan holding off a Luke Kennedy charge in the final round to take out the win here, with a 909 being the highlight around the blue course. In FA3, Lucinda Rawlings wins pretty comfortably with 3 800 plus rounds, which is plenty above her rating, which is
NZDG's Lucinda Rawlings, correct? That's the right one.
It is, yes, it is.
Fantastic.
That's absolutely.
If I believe if you see things come up on the NZDG social media, that's courtesy of her. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Down into MJ15, and Matti Nanumea takes out the win here by 2 shots, despite shooting 8, despite giving up 8 shots in the final round to Kieran McLeod. So did incredibly well just to do enough to limp over the line in MJ15. And then Caitlin McLeod wins comfortably in FJ15, but a shout out to her 843 rated round.
Fantastic. Tom, before you close that screen down, would you mind just going back up to the very top of MA1? And to the top right hand side, can you please go to view hole scores on MA1?
It's silly. It's just blue, or if that's the color for your.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you look across to if you click on stats there, on the left hand side, sorry, I'm sending into no man's land here, and you get to see the stats there, like 55% birdie for Johnny there.
Yeah,
he had three bogeys, and then how do I do this here? Sorry, I just had it up before. There's a way you can see who got the hot score for the round. Oh no, it is. It's right there. So whatever the ones are on the right hand side, they're in green. So Johnny got the most birdies, 65%. Most pars was Jason Malon with 85% there. I just sort of wanted to bring this up to look at stats, because I think this is relatively new, that side of the stats things there, where it's showing who's got the most of what, and you can go through the divisions. And it's actually a really good tool for figuring out where you need to adjust your game. It might not be trying to get birdies, but it might be just trying to shave off those double bogeys, like really being able to dig into the statistics side of things and figure out where your game is letting you down. Matt, you love stats. I'm not a huge stats guy, but I think this is a really, really good tool.
Yeah, it is. What I would, if you're a tournament director, what I would also do is I would direct you towards the course stats. For the same reason, is that you can, as well as analyzing a person's statistics, you can analyze a hole's statistics. And ideally, you want to be seeing a spread of players, right? Across all of, you want holes that differentiate between people, right? So you don't want everybody bunched towards one end. And so let's just take an example of MA. Let's go to course stats MA1 round 1. If Tom can bring that up on the screen. Round 1 MA1. So the example here will be hole 5, right? So hole 5 at Tapu thermal throwdown, for anybody who's not quite sure about where it is. If you go off the tee pad of hole 1 and just turn to your left, hole 5 runs perpendicular to hole 1. And you have to kind of crest a hill, then go underneath, and the basket's kind of on a little rise. And you can see here that 92% of people, and if you go through each of the other divisions, I'm fairly sure it will be a similar kind of story. 92% of MA1 in that first round, so 11 out of 12 people parred the hole, right? And so that perhaps tells you that hole, in terms of its job as a differentiator, if you like, which is the purpose of holes.
Yeah, a score separator.
A score separator is lower than perhaps you would want it to be, right? There are other holes there, and take hole 1 for example. But is that hole 1 right at the very top? No, hole 2. Take hole 2, right? Hole 2 is a fantastic
0.33,
right? Because you've got, yes, it averages 4.33, but that's being driven up by the 2 double people who got double bogeys, right? Where it's very hard to eagle a par 4, especially 165 meters, especially hole 2. It's almost impossible to eagle it. I think someone did eagle it at the throwdown or the classic last year, but from a throw-in from some ludicrous angle. And so, but as a combination of potential scores for MA1, that hole is spot on. It's right where you want to be, right? So for anybody who's running a tournament and wants to have a look afterwards and kind of go, which holes are the more successful holes? Objectively, this is a way to do it. Now, the only criticism I have of the PDGA site here is it would be good to combine all. It would be good for one layout to be able to combine all divisions who played a particular layout on a particular day.
Exactly. I'm actually just over on the Flight Park one as well, because for me this came up through Arne Burgess 2 weeks. Whenever we finished Flight Park, we were talking about it. But I was thinking the same thing. If I could put together MPO, FPO, MP40, and MA1, I'd get the right stats that I'm looking at. But right now I'm just looking at MPO.
Yeah.
So because Arne brought this to my attention, because there's one hole that we made harder by putting in an island on it, and it wasn't complaints, but it was just like, why? And I was just like, well, because I'm trying to create score separation. And when we look back at it, it played 0.2 over par. There was 20% birdies, 40% pars, and 40% bogeys.
Yeah, that's probably which is better than 80% pars and 20% bogeys, right? Or 20%.
It's a perfect separation in MPO right there.
So
20% of the field got the birdie.
That's a tool that's worth using. Anyway, let's get back to our results. The next one we're going to look at is the DGS Shorts in Spring, which took place in Invercargill. Nicholas Stout ran this event one day down on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Saturday, down in Invercargill. And it was Ethan Stout who took out the win on a playoff over Tom McKay. I'm presuming that's a playoff, given they shot identical scores.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hayden Edgley in 3rd, Jamie Hunter and Francis Orange tying in 4th place.
That's cool to see Jamie Hunter up there. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good result for him.
100%.
Down into MA1, Brenley Marshall, we spoke about earlier, playing in Waimate this weekend, wins MA1 by one shot, just holding off Connor Bishop and Bray Marston, who charging at the end.
I actually just laid off Connor Bishop for the first time in months today. I drove past him. I was like, you're back in town.
Okay. Nicholas Stout wins in FA1 quite comfortably over Sue Brown. 2.894 rated rounds for Nicola. In MA40, the best division, so this one was a bit packed as well. Barry Van Beek wins over Lance Eason, again holding off a charge from Lance in the second round at 9.30. Rated second round was enough for Barry Van Beek. 9.66, which is pretty good in MA40 for Lance Eason. So well done to him. Wayne Brown and Shannon Kite share 3rd. MA3.
We'll give Nicola Stout, just before we go past it, a big happy birthday this week too. It does not say on the Disc Golf South Invercargill page what your age is, and I would not be so rude to say it, but a big happy birthday to you.
Many happy returns, Nicola Stout. Absolutely. The MA3, Rob Maxwell wins by 6 shots over Daniel Hawkes and Ben McLeod, Matthew Winter in third. FA3, and it's Kate Pickerfley, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, wins relatively comfortably by 7 shots. And in MJ18, Tiaki Gillies wins by 2 shots over Connor Rance. Haley Rance, presumably a relation of Connor, wins FJ18.
Fantastic.
So yeah,
Fantastic.
Great little one day. We talk about these one days all the time. They're brilliant, aren't they? Love these little one days.
100%. They're the best. Third event.
Now you're going to have to talk us through this one because I don't have any stats.
Hey, look, there's not going to be a lot of talking through it. The Gathering of Nocturnals, which is an annual Queenstown event where it's an after dark special where all the baskets are lit up in the gardens. There's a few lights around on mando trees and things like that. It's a pretty fun evening. It was just a one rounder this year, unsanctioned. A few bears were flying around the course. Alan Megatron, Team Generation, ran his first tournament, which was cool. So that's another one of those first ticked off. And then Mikey Yu, King of the Gardens, man, gets the job done.
Fantastic.
Of course. Sorry, Mikey, I can't remember what you shot. I was probably like early double digits. But yeah, you got the job done, as you should. King of the Gardens.
Fantastic. Doing it daytime or nighttime, doesn't matter.
He doesn't need to see.
Right. So 3 events over the weekend, very busy. There's only Waimate this weekend, so it'll be a bit easier to follow the scores. Now, Morgan, an event you've got coming up soon is the Legend of the Lodge, and there's a skins
Tapu,
match.
Legend of the Lodge.
There's a Wāhi Tapu skins match, which is relatively famous now, and there's a way that you can get involved. Just talk us through before we bring the duck race on, which I'm sure everybody's inquisitive about. Just talk us through, how do you get a spot in the skins match? There's a few ways to get a spot. Well, this is part of
Yeah. So the skins match happens on the Saturday afternoon of Wāhi Tapu after about 20 minutes, half hour after the last card's going to come in for the day because we're on tea times. There's going to be 4 players playing on the skins match. They're playing for $100 a hole. Mm-hmm. The first person that's on the skins match is Mr. Marwood, Michael Marv Marwood, from Christchurch. He owns Rad Roasting Co., who have come on board as the title sponsor for the skins match. So he automatically got a spot to give to either himself or anyone he wanted to give it to. Mm-hmm. The second way is through our hot sauce quiz, our spicy quiz. All my hot sauces actually arrived today, so I'm quite excited about that. Yep. Where you'll and that's what we're duck racing to tonight. But the quiz, the person who wins the quiz is going to get a spot in the skins match, and that's going to be hot sauces every single question. Okay. And then the third spot is the polar plunge, which is done on the Friday afternoon, where we all go on the lake for minimum 3 minutes if you want a chance this year. Last year, Arne Burgess got into the bloody skins match by dipping his toes in and getting out.
So you just got to... It's not the person who stays in there the longest or who can swim around.
Oh, no, we're not. No, because I will be in some death grip with someone in the lake for a long time.
You'll be there all night. Next morning.
I'll be there a long time. Yeah, that's not safe. Yeah, that's not safe. Okay. No, 3 minutes, then you can get out and you'll go in the draw. The people that stay in 3 minutes will go and just, we'd probably do a duck race, actually.
You ought to have it, and then you've got to go in at least to like your belly button or something, you know?
You've got to dive under. You've got to go fully submerged at the start.
Okay, so we've the Arne Burgess rule is taking effect.
Yeah, that's out. Yeah, it's going to be clarified at the time. You've got to be, sort of sitting in the water at the very least. Okay. And then the last spot's going to go to a random person that's at the start line ready. They're not going to know. I'm not even going to tell you how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to pick someone out to join in on the skins match. So have your discs ready.
There we go. So
tonight we've got the duck race.
The duck race, here it is. So this is new. This is the Sweet Chain duck race. It's on screen now. So everybody who's entered or who's got a chance is represented by a duck. And the race is going to begin when producer Tom hits the button very shortly, and it's
3,
going to go for a
2,
minute. It's the
1. Let's
there
just
it
go.
is. It's the duck that's leading at the time. It's taking a little bit of time to update, but Isaac Howard is coming through. Kelvin Cummins is also there.
You will see my name in the mix, and if I get in, Adam is writing the quiz.
Back. Steve Reed on the inside, doing very well, and on the outside. Remember, he's got more than one entry. Stephen Reed.
I need to say this: mayonnaise taking up the rear.
Lovely. A man through the centre looks like he might be winning, but it could still all change. Isaac Howard
they
still
seem to have
in the
someone
win.
come
Steve
through the
Reed,
near the end.
Steve Reed and Isaac Howard are streaking ahead with 12 seconds to go. Who's it going to be? Morgan Hartfeld coming through and Stu Gilchrist from nowhere.
I'd love to see
Stephen
Stu
Reed
in
and
here.
Isaac Howard are flailing. Who's going to cross the line? It's Stephen Reed. Congratulations to Stephen. He will win his spot in the hot sauce quiz, and hopefully have a chance to win his place in the Wāhi Tapu skins match. That was exciting, wasn't it? That was
great. I love it. I was saying to I'll break the fourth wall here. I was saying to the team before, let's just run like an hour-long one and just let it sit in the bottom corner here. People just be getting fizzed up at this, yelling at the screen for an hour.
Well, I hope you're all cheering people on. Maybe we shall introduce duck races for all of our giveaways. We'll see. Anyway, let's get on to something more serious. Disc Duel this week. Let's have a look. Morgan, did you choose first last week, or did I choose first? I can't remember.
I think I did.
Okay. I'm going to go with the disc that I threw the most off the tee, and I was pleasantly surprised with how it flew most of the weekend. And I'm going to go for a Latitude 64 Brave. It's going to be my first guess. Lovely disc, actually. It's a speed 7.6
minus
1.2.
Oh,
but I'll tell you what, it was one of the first discs that I've been able to turn over, right? And I was using it as my driver for for most of it. So I was driving off the tee, and I was getting 90 to 100 meters with it, which for me, with my arm, is I'm pretty pleased with that. So yeah, if you're after one, it's in the new Royal range as well, so it feels real good. And hang on a second, I've got it here. There it is. This is a prototype. I don't know whether that means it's more stable or what, but because I don't have a regular run one to compare it to. But I found this one would just drift right a little bit before coming back, and I think it was just that little drift right which got me a few extra yards. So yeah, happy with that. Anyway, back to Disc Duel. It's a lot faster, but it's a 1-2, and its glide is lower than 6.
I was going to ask you a question, but I'm not. I'm just going to go out and say Destroyer.
Yeah, it could be a Destroyer. Yeah,
I don't know if that's -1-2. I can't remember. It's close.
0-2. Oh, okay. So it's -1.
Got some good information.
So it's an Innova. It's higher than a 12, but it's got a glide of 5 and -1-2. So higher than a speed 12. Your Innovas, fast Innovas.
It depends which numbered boss they've got in there for starters.
Okay, we'll try boss then.
Ripper boss in there.
That's why I thought of when I first saw this one here. Not quite right. A boss 13. The numbers are nearly.
Yep.
So it's a 13.
Yeah.
1-2. What have we got?
13.5 -1-2.
Who is
Charger's not 13. It's is it a Corvette?
Let's go Corvette. It's not 14.6 -1.
I'm just trying to think what fast. Nah, isn't a Wraith slower than that? Or am I wrong?
I'm not sure. Gregor's saying Wraith, but
it could be Wraith. Hey, look, Yeah, I have a small amount of Innova drivers. I've always stuck with just a couple. And a Tebbit saying Charger. I did think that, but I thought a Charger was a 12. Sorry. I'm like, oh, wait, is it a 12? No, we're not looking for a 12.
Not looking for a 12, looking for a 13.
Sorry, I thought it was. Confused myself there. I thought it was a 12, but I could be wrong.
All right, we've got
Do
two
we want
guesses.
to try Wraith?
We've got 2 guesses left, so anybody who's an Innova distance driver thrower who can kind of.
So I've kind of done the last 3, to be fair.
So your Innova knowledge is way better than mine, so.
It is, but like I only ever throw like 3 or 4.
Okay, we're going to go with Glue Fist, and we're going to try Wraith. Let's try Wraith. Let's see how that fits in.
Yeah, I thought it was slower. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
An Orc?
Nah, that's way slower.
Slower?
It's way slower. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually struggling on this. Someone, there's got to be someone from Team Innova in the chat. Someone help us out here. We can't get this wrong with Innova. Shouldn't.
Well, we've only got 1 guess left. So
I was quietly confident that it was a destroyer, if I'm honest. Can you? There's not different variants of destroyer there, is there? There was one. There wasn't like a G-Star destroyer. Cat Headley. It's a 13.
And a turn is more, isn't it? Turn is like -3 or something. A Shrike is -2.
Yep, Shrike's flippier. Colossus is -2 as well.
Victus?
Slower. It's like a 10 or 11.
Okay.
I'm looking around my room. I don't have everything up at the moment. Oh no, chat, we need you here. Okay, we're not going to get this wrong because I'm just going to look up Innova drivers. We're just going to do it. Have a chat to the people while I cheat.
This is so chat's gone incredibly quiet. They
have. No one's confident.
No one is confident on this one. Yeah, this is tough. We know the numbers. It's 13.5. I think it's right. Was it 6?
No, it's 13.5 minus 1, 2.
Hannah's pretty confident it's a Charger. So look.
Oh nah, hold on.
Are we not?
There's one disc that I didn't think. Nah, I don't think it's a Charger. I think it's a Dominator.
Dominator.
I did not think. Wow. I did not think that was the numbers on that.
That's quite an old disc, isn't it? I mean, or is it new?
Yeah.
It's either new or old.
Dominator's old.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Do you reckon it's Dominator? Is that the numbers? Is it?
Well, that is the numbers. Yeah, I'm just going back to the page. 1 second. Colossus, Vulcan, Katana, Groove.
But Innova's one of those brands that would have lots of discs with the same numbers, right? Because they've just got so many discs.
I want to say Lock and Dominator, just to go against.
Connor says Dominator.
Yeah, I don't go against Connor.
There we go. It is Dominator. There we are. So there we are. 13.5 minus 1, 2. So yeah, very good. Dominator is the disc.
Very good. Nailed it.
Next week. Over to Disc Golf Valley. The room ID's up on the screen and has been for the whole show. So hopefully you played. This week I shot. Who we got? Arn with a 7 under par. Kelvin with an 8 under par. That's fantastic. I shot poorly, +3.
I think Arn had a few rounds. He had a -4 in there at one point.
Oh, did he? Okay, right. All right.
Yeah.
We know what's going on.
Pulling me out too.
Hinton with 5 down. Yeah, and Morgan, you did all right, wasn't it?
Just a 4 down or something like that.
Oh, okay. A Charger is the same numbers. Arn is saying actually on disc.
Is it
related to Distal? So Hannah, you get a tip of the cap to Hannah Tebber for getting the answer but not the answer, if you know what I mean. So yeah, excellent. Well done to Kelvin for taking out the win. How you got birdies on all of those holes, I've got no idea. I was really proud when I got a spit out on the big par 5.
Coming in hot, breaking news. Can I get that up? Hemi Tiafitu takes down the final ever Struggle Street Trophy round. Congratulations to Mr.
Well done,
Hemi
Hemi.
Tiafitu.
He lives literally. He's probably the closest, isn't he? Him and Chris.
No, he's in Arthur's Point.
I thought he lived. Did he used to live next door?
Nah. Jolly lives a couple doors down. Malcolm Judd lived in between those two. So yeah, it was Jolly, Malk Judd, and Chris Dixon. Now Malcolm Judd lives out in Dalefield and has the Dalefield course on his property. Another 9-holer on private property.
Well, very well done to Hemi for taking out the final. I'm sure it'll be that course will get toasted, and beers might be had down there this evening. Let's have a look at some upcoming events then. So we've got South Island Masters Games this weekend. New events to talk about on this list here is the Christchurch Disc Golf Champs on the 15th of December, which is a one-day if you're a member of Christchurch Disc Golf Club. Yep. Faultline Fury is selling out. I think I spoke to Kath and there were 12 spots left when I last checked earlier on this week. If you're on the PDJ site, I think there's 59 people signed up. There's 70-something spots, I think. Maybe a few more. Otherwise, there's
Waka unfortunately has been cancelled. Team.
It has. Yes.
The people unfortunately did not sign up. There's a lot of other things going on. It's totally understandable. It's one of those things that it is what it is. The boys will look down the line to sometime in the next season in 2025 to get that one up and running again, because that course looked fantastic. I'm pretty gutted I didn't get to go down for a weekend in the Catlins.
Hopefully they can get that event up and running. And the other thing to notice is that the registrations for Egg Monster, Topol Classic, and Nationals entered Tier 2 in the last week. So that means that if you are for Egg Monster, if you are rated, what is it, 8? What have you got to be? Oh, it's open now. Egg Monster is completely open for registrations. Doesn't matter what your rating is. Topor is, hang on, just going to get back to the Topor Classic, is also open to everybody. Tier 2 registration, is 875 for MPA 40 and MA1, and MA40 is 800 rated, and for the ladies divisions is 750. And finally, Nationals, the Beauty and the Beast tournament is currently 875 in the mixed divisions and 750 in the female divisions for National. There is the registrations are coming along. Topol's got 86 people registered now. I think they're limiting it to like 150. So the numbers are climbing there, which is great. Still trying to work out a few things as to whether I can get to that. I'd like to, but the reasons might prevent it. And I'm hoping to get down to Nationals as well in February.
Same. You and I were talking about doubles yesterday, and me and Adam are going to get off our flight at 10:40 in the morning, and I believe the first tee times for doubles out at Bottle Lake start at 12. So we're just going to hop straight in the car and go straight there.
Right there, yeah. I shall be looking to pick up an old fart as one of my doubles partners. So that will be, which sounds far worse than it actually is. And then finally, looking ahead, if we can go to the next screen, Roxburgh Open and Moonshine Open. So Moonshine Open is a new tournament to be played at Moonshine Park in Wellington. So as you go up the highway, Morgan, you might have do you remember talking about this when they held a pop-up event and 90 odd people showed up?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's a tournament at that course, right? And
fantastic.
It held the Middle Earth Open, not this year, sorry, but 2023, in March 2023, it held the Middle Earth Open, but it's now its own event, so that the Middle Earth Open will be its own event as well. So there'll be 3 events in Wellington. So yeah, it's going to be played there on a slightly different course to how Middle Earth Open was played. Designed by Sean Lincoln, with input from the community, and I think this tournament will act as a bit of a fundraiser for getting baskets in the ground there. They've had a couple of these fundraisers, and yeah, they're coming along really well, and hopefully going to get the baskets in the ground in Moonshine.
I love that as a way to get baskets in the ground, just running tournaments that you just know straight away that's where the money's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you got the Smash. The Tapohoi Breeze is a new event on our calendar here on the first weekend of March. Dystopia in Masterton, middle of March, same weekend as Paradise Plates. And then the Queenstown Classic, which is the 30th edition of the Queenstown Classic.
Yes, it is.
22nd of March, which you will be TDing, Morgan, I understand.
Maybe, hopefully. We're just talking about that.
Okay, so, well...
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed, but maybe.
I would like to. Absolutely would like to, and it's been put to the board, so we'll see what comes back.
Fantastic. The Seafarer in end of March in Dunedin, and then Lords and Ladies first weekend of May. Rounds out the events that are coming up. Let's have a look at power rankings.
Fantastic.
Power rankings, bit of a change here. Hannah Edmonds moves up 1 spot into 10th, and Laura Backer moves 12 spots into 15th. Taking advantage of a good performance at the weekend. She's moved up there, and a bit of change. Johnny Wake moves up 2 spots to 2nd.
Here he is.
Country, as a result of his win at the Towport Thermal Throwdown. Elsewhere, a whole bunch of people have moved up, largely because Jay Watkinson and Andy Davey have fallen out of the rankings due to number of events played. And also Jack Maffey has moved down 2 spots. Raina Pai climbs into the top 20 as well.
Ooh, we did too. Sneaky.
So that rounds out the power rankings. One last thing for us to talk about, which is next week, right? Morgan, how many days until Christmas? Have a guess.
I don't know. There's 102 days to Thailand and takes 20 days off that. 82 days.
76 days.
No,
Christmas.
Sorry, that was to the new year.
Okay, 76 days until to Christmas. So next week we shall be launching Secret Santa. So we'll have more details on this next week, but you want to stay tuned into next week's show so you get all of the information and all of the details. It was great fun last year. We had about.
I was just about to say it was brilliant last year,
and there was some pretty hot packages went flying. So yeah, we want to get yourself involved. What you can do in the meantime is if you search on Facebook for the Sweet Chain, what's it called? Secret Santa.
Have you set up a new one, or are you looking up?
No,
last year's
I'll use the old one. I'll use I think it was called New Zealand Disc Golf. Yes, if you search up NZ Disc Golf Secret Santa 2023, I shall repurpose this group, rename it, and that's where all the updates will be. So you can add yourself onto there, and that'll have all the information as well as hearing about it on the show. So Listen out next week if you want to be involved in Secret Santa. But yeah, I think that's more or less does it for us for this week. And so very best of luck to producer Tom and the rest of the competitors in playing in Waimate this weekend. And wherever you're playing disc golf, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.